Considering the other sort of their wheelhouse is solely paid traffic, I thought maybe I'd speak to organic a little bit. It's something I see people do pretty frequently there. The first is that they treat Facebook and Instagram as twins, not sisters. They're actually completely different platforms with completely different modes of engagement. And while you may find that the same content works for you on both platforms, it's not always the case. You may end up with two completely different audiences. The way the posts are formatted is different. I audited an account the other day where a post made perfect sense on Instagram because people saw the image first and then they read the text. But then on Facebook, they just shared that post across as is. So people read the text first, and it just made people sort of just like, what? And if you give people sort of that moment of confusion or pause, they're not going to commit and keep reading. So expecting that they can just share posts across between the platforms and just have it work every time is a common one. The other one that I see a lot is people spending no time on their organic or putting all of their energy into a group instead of their page. What you do on your pages and profiles will actually significantly impact your ad costs, especially now that Facebook is weighing in social proof higher than it ever has before. I've run a number of tests, and some of the people I work with in my mastermind, I'm in a mastermind with Ezra Firestone and Molly Pittman, and they've run a number of tests that just show it's mind-boggling how much your ad costs decrease if you spend some time on building up your organic and social proof. So a lot of people think, I can just run ads. But if you spend some time on your organic, it's the stats don't lie. It's Facebook is looking for proof that that people like your content, that it's going to give rise to good user experience, whether that's an ad or an organic post. So spending a bit of time on your page is one of the best things you can actually do for your paid advertising.
That makes sense. Did you want to jump in there, Mitchell? Have you seen some kind of things going on that you think, I'm not sure about that?
well, two things. Just going on what Joe said about the differences between Facebook and Instagram. One pet hate of mine is when people use the same content from Facebook to Instagram, but they include a link in Instagram when it's not clickable. That's
or the handles on Facebook.
It's a little obvious that it's just a copy and paste job. But going to, I guess, my specialty in paid traffic, the biggest issue I find is when people are sending paid traffic to just their homepage for two reasons. When you're doing paid traffic, you have a relevance score, just like you would in an AdWords campaign. And if the ad copy and the landing page don't have any sync, which they usually wouldn't if it's just the homepage, your relevance score will be lower and your costs will be higher. And you got to think of it in a point where if you're writing good ad copy and they're engaged with that and they've taken the time to click, if they then go to a page which doesn't simulate what they've just read to give you more information, such as instead of using a landing page, you just wasted that click. That's one thing. So I always tell my client it's the perfect Facebook ad is made up of three steps. So audience, offer, and destination. So audience, obviously who you're targeting. The offer is what the ad copy is and giving it a bit of wow factor. Don't be bland and give a specific offer. And then the destination is the landing page where they go. So that's just my little pet hate that I find that a lot of people do, and it never works.
Yeah, well, obviously behind the scenes is where you guys are at, and you kind of see the evidence that says that really doesn't need to happen. That doesn't work too well. Yeah. Whereas for a customer, the other end, they hand it over to you guys. They're like, I'm handing it over because I ain't got a clue, to be honest.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
That's what you're there for. That's the awesome part. And well, what can you suggest that people that you've seen that would be best for them to avoid online in their advertising?
And there's a few things. One, you need to keep in mind why people are on a platform. So it is a social media. It's not not a advertising. It is an advertising tool, but people aren't on there to look at ads and buy products, even though they will do it. So you've got to sort of bear in mind the environment. The biggest two mistakes I probably see, one is that people don't either take the time to understand or express what's in it for me as a client in the right way. They do it really obscurely, or I saw a great example the other day. Car companies are always advertising comparison rates. So they'll show a picture of their new car and then they'll have comparison rate. I don't even know what a comparison rate is. Maybe I'm the only one in Australia and the world that doesn't know that, but I suspect that's not the case. So use the language of the customers. And the other big one that people make is making the wrong offers to people at the wrong time. So if you go and you show an ad to someone who's never heard of you before, and you want them to make a purchase, or you want them to sign up for a call or something like that requires a commitment, even if it's free, it's still a commitment, and there's still risk associated with that transaction from the client perspective. So if you're asking people to do too much before they even get to know you, you're not going to have success with the ads. And I see that all the time. You've actually got to build the relationship and warm the audience up and then make offers. So it's a process. It's not an instant type thing. So there are a couple of big ones I see.
Good advice.
That's a good point, especially for really high ticket services such as business coaches and stuff like that. They might want to just get general inquiries for a $2,000 a month service or whatever they charge, and with no prior knowledge of them. And they all want to be your Gary V's and your Grant Cardones. But if you look at them, they do so much content to build trust before they signal out an ad for a retargeting ad for an offer. And it's very hard to explain to a client sometimes that you might need to spend some money on video views and just giving away content when there's not an immediate return on investment on that to build trust to get the client initially. And they just think it's a direct response ad where here's what we offer, buy now. But I guess the best way to explain that, if you were doing a cold call and you said, my name's John Smith, I'm a business coach, my service is $2,000 a month, sign up here over the phone, you get hung up on every single time. So sometimes you've got to express your ad copy in a way if you were talking to someone face to face. And that especially when providing content prior to that.
The other it's interesting as well with that with funnels and things, sort of the length of your funnel should sort of be proportionate to the amount you're asking somebody to spend. But I often find people think about that investment only in terms of money, whereas I've found asking someone for their time is often sometimes hard. Like if you're asking someone for like a week of their time or a month of their time, sometimes it can almost be harder to get people to spend a day with you for free than it can be to get them to give you a relatively large amount of money. So I think people need to think about what are you asking the customer or client for, and don't just think about it in terms of dollars. If you're asking them to give you a significant amount of trust, to tell you really personal stuff about themselves or let you into their family life or something like that, or a high amount of money or a significant amount of their time. Like if I said to you, look, you can either give me an hour of your undivided attention or you can give me $20, you'd probably give me the $20. Like it's time is probably the hardest thing I find generally to get people to part with. So so even if your services, so you go.
Yeah, especially when you're marketing free events, a lot of clients just think, everyone would come. But if they're a full day event during the week, you're missing out on a full day of, if you're a business owner, for example, you're missing out on a full day of productivity at work, right? And everyone's different on what they value that as. But like we have a client that does business events, and he has two different structures. He has a night event where it's 6 to 9 or a full day event. And the cost per registration or lead, or however you want to display it, is nearly a third when he does the night event, because people don't feel that they're taken away. But then again, if you have a young family, that night event might not be suitable for you.
That's true.
So you prefer the young one. So it's a little bit of pull and take there. But you're 100% right, because you're not just giving away, it's not the price of the ticket always, it's the price of their time.
Absolutely. And I get all the time, I get people on LinkedIn especially, I would say, mostly on LinkedIn, I get people just shooting me a message and saying, hey, Karen, how about we jump on a call for 15 minutes? I'm like, do you realize how much my 15 minutes is worth? And I don't even know who you are.
He's like, how about you send me an email and then I'll see if you're worth my 15 minutes.
LinkedIn's really bad for that. You get someone connect, and then you get a canned sales pitch or a request for a call, and you just go, hang on, like, do you have something of value to offer me? Often they do, but they haven't actually thought through it from the client's perspective. That's the thing that's missing. Everyone's trying to sell their stuff. You actually got to think about it from the client's perspective. If you put an offer out initially through LinkedIn that gives me some help with something that might be important to me, or ask me a question that engages me, then you've got a chance of doing something. But if you go straight for the sale, just delete, ignore. All day, every day on LinkedIn. It's not as bad on other platforms, but LinkedIn's really like that.
It's terrible.
I would say it can almost be worse on Facebook, because on LinkedIn, at least, it's not against the terms of service. Whereas on Facebook, I think a lot of businesses don't realise, like, they're in a Facebook group, they see someone saying, I need help with this. They haven't said anywhere it's okay to private message me. And the person sees them a PM. That's actually against the terms of service of the Messenger platform.
Yeah, and the group rules usually.
Yes,
which people just don't realise. And then they get banned, they get, removed from the platform, not allowed to advertise, and they're just like, wait, what happened? I'm like, terms of service. It's a thing that you need to follow.
The thing is, when I get those messages, it doesn't leave you feeling good. It makes you you left feeling, I just I allowed you to connect to my network. And now you're pitching to me immediately. Right, you're off. And I let go of them. Because I think that's all I'm worth. Then it doesn't leave the customer feeling good, does it?
No. Yeah. Absolutely not.
It's so easy to think about marketing in terms of B2B, B2C, all that sort of thing, all these terms we throw around. But at the end of the day, marketing is human to human. If you can have a human connection, a human conversation, if you can show up on platforms and be authentic and offer something of value. Something I often say to my coaching clients is, you just have to remember, you're not the hero of the story here. Your customer or client is. You're just the guide who's getting them from where they are now to where they want to go. So it's just you gotta work on that relationship building.
You've got to empathy. You've got to get into the position of your client, right? And think about what would they feel about this. What would they think if you did this?
Yeah, I think Will would agree here, because he said he does mostly service-based clients as well. Being all of us being service-based, I think the internet's a great way, and social media in general is a great way to generate leads, whether it be paid or organic. But in my experience, it's very rare where I'll get a client where I don't call them or meet them. I usually call them, where I build that interaction and that trust over the phone first. So it's a great entry point. But in an old school sense, it's still phone and face-to-face, more phone these days, where you close the sale. It's very rare that I get an email saying, hey, I want to sign up, and then they just pay me, and then that happens. It's usually converse from the call. So
the only times I was gonna say, the only times that ever has happened to me, it's we've built a relationship already in Facebook groups and things like that. It's never just a cold
or it's a referral where someone else has done the selling for you.
Basically.
You still would typically jump on a call. It'll just be a different call. So it'll be a warm call if they know you from groups or they've been referred. I always have a call. I often say to people in services business, have a like a triage type call, just a short call. Most people know the triage system in an emergency room in a hospital. You walk in, are you about to die now? They treat you differently as opposed to if you've got a bit of a cough and so they quickly ask you some questions to work out what they need to do next. Same sort of thing in the business. My inclination is always jump on a call, understand what the person's problems are. Can I help? Do they want help? Can they afford help? All those sort of things. And my aim with those is always leave them better off, whether they become a client or not. But it's always a call. If you're going to sell something of any value, it's it's a bit different if you're selling a $9.95 bottle of face cream or something, or you don't have to worry about that. But I would argue that you're always trying to build a long-term relationship with the client.